This would be a typical breakfast for me that I have around lunchtime often. So it's packed with nutrition and it's so yummy. I have to make sure I get enough protein because I'm vegetarian, and Siggets to me is the number one source of protein because it has 18 grams of protein per 3/4 cup, and it's all natural. They were out of the plain, so I bought the vanilla, but the vanilla is just vanilla beans, so it's not sugary either. I add to that a little bit of Alpen cereal, again, has like a lot of whole grains. I add slivered almonds. I need to replace some of these slivered almonds. A little bit of honey, raw honey, you guys. Use just raw honey. Medjool dates in the winter. I add medjool dates. And then, of course, some organic cut up grapes, organic blueberries. I added a little bit of apple, and in season, sometimes I'll add strawberry. And this is really good because I don't eat meat. I have to make sure I get enough protein. This is like the best way to do it. And it's super yummy and it's really filling. And yeah, so that's what I like to eat. So let's continue. So, eating is just one way of taking care of our health, right? But there are many other aspects. And one thing that I'm doing, I'm starting some coaching this Friday. I started working with a new coach. She is a licensed psychotherapist, not licensed psychotherapist. She has a psychotherapy training and did all the clinical work, but before she became licensed, she took a detour into some deeper work that therapists don't typically learn: hypnotherapy, somatic work, vagus nerve, breath work, and all of that. So I'm very excited to be working with her. She's been a coach for 10 years. And I also start listening to some MP3s by Mas Sajadi. You can find him on YouTube. It's about changing your frequency. The reason I got into the changing the frequency is my mom really recommended him to me, and I listened to him yesterday falling asleep, and I kept falling asleep. There's been something going on inside my body, uh, which is unexplainable, like all this tension. And my massage therapist, who's worked on me for many years, like, what happened to you? Your body is so tight. Like, it's never been this tight. It's almost like you need a 5 hour massage. And it started about a week ago. I don't know. I also have like this really tight shoulder and this really tight calf. And usually I feel so great in my body. I'm very in tune with my body. And I'm like, what is happening? I have to do some deeper healing on myself to get to the root of this. Like, I've never had this stuff happen. And there's nothing in the outside world that upset me or triggered me or is causing me stress. Um, so I also want to make this video about one more point that I want to make, which is that I've also been exposed lately to several men that are friends of mine that are involved with women who have BPD, borderline personality disorder. So I got very interested in that. And it just made me, I've been like watching videos about it to try to understand it, see what it's like for these people who have it. I think the people who have BPD end up getting into relationships with people who are very agreeable because that's what they need. But it made me realize, like the men are trying to help these women. How can I not upset her? How can I calm her down? And I'm like telling these guys, it's not your responsibility to neutralize the reactivity of another adult, because the BPD people get very easily triggered. I myself have little triggers on little things that blow, they last 2 seconds. I'm not super reactive, but maybe I'm carrying things in my body, which I'm going to investigate. But here's the thing. Eventually that doesn't work anymore. You can't soothe your partner into self-regulation. We all have to learn to self-regulate. So I almost made a video last night about, I'm so tired of dealing with people who have, I have another friend who's dealing with somebody who's got mental health issues, and it's hard on her. It's hard for me to see that. And I can be mad. There's a part of me that's mad at the people who have depression, anxiety, BPD, bipolar. There's a part of me that's mad at them for not doing anything about it because they're not trying. Most of the time, they're not trying. They have maybe done a little therapy or done a little this or that, but they're not hungry for answers the way that I'm hungry for answers with this tension in my body. When I'm in pain, I get hungry for answers. But see, a lot of these people, they don't even have a sense of self. So they don't even realize that, oh my God, I'm out of alignment with myself. I need to get help. They don't have that awareness. They're just blaming the outside world for making them feel the way that they do. They don't have a sense of self. So what I wanted to make a video about today was it's so important for all of us. Every human being has to take responsibility for their own sense of self. Who am I? Not my identity, not my name, my occupation, the clothes I have, the stuff I own, that I'm a mother or that I'm a father or a spouse. Who am I when I'm not any of that? Like a sense of self, a sense of purpose and meaning and connection to something deeper that's not materialistic, like God, or like that you walk around embodied with a sense of self. Okay? And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that. A lot of people don't have that. So that's one thing. And the other thing we are going to get triggered in life. Everyone gets triggered. You will get the most triggered in your intimate relationship. If you don't have a sense of self, your triggers are going to take you out fast. So you need a sense of self so that when you get triggered, you can realize, I'm triggered right now. And you might lose your cool, that you can apologize. You can come back to your own sense of self and soothe yourself and become less and less reactive. We all have to manage our own emotional states. That's what I'm saying. And for some people, it's really hard. It's really hard for people who grew up without a sense of self, because the only way we get a sense of self is from our caretakers giving it to us. You are not born with a sense of self. Your caretakers reflect who you are through their loving, kind interaction. Oh, I love you so much. I'm so happy you're in my life. Oh, you're feeling angry and I still love you and I'm calm. So kids learn how to calm their anger. If you don't have that, you're flailing. Your insides, the brains of these people are constantly flailing and on guard, like their brains. If you could see, you guys, we should look at people's brains before we date them. But anyway, we have to be able to calm ourselves and get back to a state of self. We cannot outsource that to other people, because the people who do that, eventually they leave, and eventually you lose sexual attraction, because caretaking and sexual attraction are opposite. So to the extent that you're walking on eggshells or you feel responsible for calming your partner, you're gonna lose sexual attraction probably. The people who grew up this way, they don't have a sense of self and they don't know it. So I get mad at them for not working on their stuff, but they're not going to work on it because they're not in enough pain, and they keep finding people who rescue them. And the thing is, a lot of these people that have these mental health issues, they're physically very attractive and physically very charming. So they're able to get away with it. And they start out very sweet, kind of love bombing you, and they're hot. Like the women are always super hot. How can you distinguish these people? First of all, I think, well, this video is really about, that we all have to have a sense of self, and that when we get triggered, we have to be able to self-regulate. And people that don't have a sense of self have a really hard time with that. And I feel sad for them, but also I'm mad at them too, because they're not choosing to get help. They're not choosing to get help because they're in relationships with people who are agreeable, people pleasers. They want to help. They're helpers, they're nurturers, they're caretakers. Being nurturing is good unless it's a one-way street and you're taking responsibility for someone who has abandoned the self. So a lot of people are walking around, they have abandoned the self, and they're looking for other people to give them the love and the affection and the comfort that they're not willing to give themselves. Now, that's a little child behavior. They're acting like infants and toddlers. Infants and toddlers need that. But adults, when adults go around doing that, it creates a lot of chaos and drama in the world. And the people who feel responsible for caretaking them eventually become worn out and they become resentful. And it's not their job. That's a healthy sign that it's time for them to go. Now, there are other people who act out their trauma by creating chaos and drama, like the lady who's talking about the Adam Levine thing, I guess she has like a very angry history. I tend to carry my trauma, I guess, more in my body because I don't like to act out. So when I start to notice that I'm in pain, I have to talk about it, or my body is really tense. But what I think for myself is that, see, the last, I have some wounding around attachment because I still haven't fully processed the ending of my marriage. I haven't fully processed it. It's in my body. I think it's still in my body because that last 2 years of my marriage was the first time I ever let myself need another person, ever. Because before that, I always had boyfriends. I was never really in love with my boyfriends. Even with my ex-husband, I was like, you do your thing, I do my thing. And I let myself need him. But he wasn't a good person to let myself need. It was very traumatizing, and it's in my body. I think it's in my body. So I'm fine with that. I welcome all the healing, and I welcome everything I can share with you guys about the healing. But what I want to say about the nurturing is that if you're in a relationship with someone who has a lot of issues, mental health issues, and you're nurturing them, but they're not nurturing you, it's a one-way street, that's not healthy because now you're a caretaker. And in my opinion, the only caretaking should be done, the only one-way caretaking that's healthy is if you're caretaking someone who is either a child or an elderly adult on their way to death. Otherwise, caretaking your parents, your adult children, or your partners is, it's not healthy. It's not. Some people think, oh, I'm a good person because I'm nurturing and I'm caretaking. You've abandoned yourself and taken on what is the responsibility of another adult in those cases. It does not make you a good person. It makes you a doormat when you abandon yourself. And that's another way that a lot of people have not a sense of self. You have the borderline personality person or the depressed person. They don't have a sense of self. They don't feel any urgency about changing anything. And then you have the caretaker, the nurturer, the wounded nurturer, who gets their sense of self by doing for other people, and they don't have a sense of self. They have also abandoned themselves. I only matter when I'm taking care of you. I don't even know what I want or feel. So that's just something that I kind of, have become aware of lately. And see, the people who are attracted to these unhealthy people don't see the signs because their frequency is aligned with being a caretaker or a nurturer or a fixer, so they don't pick up on the signals. Just like people who are attracted to narcissists don't pick up on the signals because they're people pleasers. So I think the only way that we can avoid being taken in by people who play game on us or who have issues is to heal ourselves, and on a deep level, not through talk therapy, but through deep therapy, body work, and changing our frequencies. I'm very excited about the Mas Sajadi. I'm going to start listening to his tapes. You can find him on Spotify. You can find him on YouTube. M-A-S Sajadi. my meditation practice. It has to be deep inner healing work that we all have to do. And listen, it's not your fault. It's not your parents' fault. The planet is wounded and the planet is in the process of healing. And we're all in the process of healing. So we all have to take responsibility. And the people who don't want to heal are the people who either are still living in the darkness, they haven't seen the light. Like some of us want to heal just because we like to progress. I kind of put myself in that category, but there are other times that people will only heal if they're in a lot of pain. And I've been in that too. But I don't want to wait till I'm in like so much pain. I've learned that if I don't keep moving forward on my spiritual journey, life will give me pain to wake me up. So when life gives you a breakup, a loss, a divorce, any kind of loss of your physical health, your money, your relationship, life is doing you a favor to wake you up. You do not have to wait for pain. I believe that people want to keep growing can grow just because they keep growing, or a little thing comes up and they're looking for, how can I move through this pain to become a better person? But a lot of people are very stubborn and they need a lot of pain, and life is here to serve you, and they will give you a lot of fucking pain to get you to wake up, because God wants us to wake up. And the thing about people is they don't wake up unless they're in pain. We're like in a physical world where we want to be in our comfort zone. So we have this interesting reality, right? We're in the physical world, but we're spiritual beings, and people don't want to improve, become closer to their spiritual self unless their physical reality is somehow shattered or disillusioned, or there's some kind of pain. So thank you for watching my video.